Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Game Reviews. In this episode, we're going to talk about Rainbow Six Extraction. Rainbow Six Extraction is the newest Rainbow Six. It came out on January 20th, 2022 on practically everything except for the Switch. That's the only thing it's not out on. It is developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft. It is a single-player, multiplayer, co-op, PvE, you versus aliens, parasites, or whatever they are. And you're basically playing as the Rainbow Six Siege team. So if you're familiar with Rainbow Six Siege, you'll be familiar with the people that you play as well as a lot of the mechanics that are kind of carried over into this game. But this one's, instead of a PvP type thing like Sieges, this is PvE. So it's you guys with kind of a story behind it versus these alien outer space spore monsters or whatever. So that's pretty much the gist of the game. You play through different maps, doing different objectives, and there's an overarching story that gets kind of pill-fed to you every so often through objectives and various little cutscenes and such like that. So we're going to go around and see what everybody thought of Rainbow Six Extraction. Pat, what about you? Let's start with you. What do you think?
It's a co-op game. We can make any co-op game fun, whether it be good or bad. This game is runs pretty good. You know, we didn't get this beta test a game for us, in my opinion. Everything seems to be running pretty good. Overall, it's got pretty good gunplay. It's got pretty good mechanics. The operators, as Nick said, have the abilities that they kind of had when the original game, just tweaked a little bit some of them have been tweaked, I should say, to fit the game arc with the aliens, the whatever they're calling them, the Archaeans, which are the aliens. So they've tweaked them a little bit to help out, but some of them they didn't have to, right? Yeah, like Finka, who can res people when they're down or give everybody a health boost, and the Doc, who can heal you with shooting you in the butt with a dart, And so it's all about, it's the same thing, but it's more PvE focused than PvP focused, which is cool. I'm enjoying it. I could see after a while how it's going to become a little bit repetitive because it is the same core. I mean, there's only a few different maps, right? Every zone has a few maps, and within every zone, there's a few maps, and then there's scenarios within each one. But the scenarios just rotate out. Things such as like Nest Hunt, Elite Hunt, capture elites, capture, biomaterials from all these other things, elite nests, if you want to call them that, and just different things. So and the mechanics change. The more difficult you change it, there's mutations that happen, and the mutations are basically negative status effects or negative effects that can happen to you in the game. Like if you step on this, it alerts this, or if you do this, it'll do that. So it's got a little bit of everything in it. It's got ramped up difficulty. I will say it is a pretty difficult game. There are a few choice scenarios that stack up together, and you're just like, screw this. We're immediately extracting. We're not even going to attempt to do these because it's 3 back-to-back pain in the ass ones. But overall, I'm enjoying it. So Shane, what about your initial thoughts, man? You like it? You hate it? You wish those aliens would anal probe you? What do you wish?
Well, the latter part, you have to stay tuned for my Shane After Dark episodes. But this is a cash grab if I've ever seen one. But it is on the better side of the cash grab scheme. I have a love-hate with Ubisoft. I used to love them, and now I hate them because they've taken away everything that made them such an amazing company. They took it away, the great story and compelling things that push you forward through a game. And that's of any game that they have. The Rainbow Six franchise is one of my absolute favorite Tom Clancy franchises. The Rainbow Six series always has been. I got hooked on it, and I've loved it, and I couldn't be more disappointed with the way the series has changed. Don't get me wrong, Rainbow Six Siege, for what it is as a PvP game, is fantastic if you're into that. So that complaint is on me. The aspect of what they're doing here it's just a money grab. Like Pat said, you have cycling objectives, so you can play the same map 5 times, and you're going to play those same objectives multiple times because they just cycle them out. I mean, there's no variety into it after a while. I mean, there's like 6, 7 different objectives that it cycles through. You might have to double check me on that. And then the maps are partially, it looks like, partially cycled from Rainbow Six Siege. Like you have the bar one and a few others, and some of it's new too. You can tell, like they've added on to it, but I'm not a fan of the milking of it. Like Pat said, we can make any co-op game fun, and we play some dumb stuff co-op just because it's co-op. So we have great times with co-op, and we've had great times with this one with co-op. Dragging my Cheeto butt, to the extraction thing so I don't lose my XP if they complete the level or whatnot. Those tense moments are really good, but that's about it. The co-op is the only thing that makes me play this game. I would never play it by myself. I would never paid for this game, knowing what I know. Thank God for Game Pass, and I believe that's a reason that it went to Game Pass. Is I don't think that they felt they were going to get a big sell on it. I really don't. It's a disappointing game, mainly for the fact that it's a cash grab. The gameplay is tight, just like Rainbow Six is. The missions are pretty cool at first, but then after that, it's just repetitive. And you have, I believe they're called studies. You learn throughout the game, throughout each mission. You have a set of studies you can complete for bonus XPs and whatnot, which is really cool at first, and then it just becomes monotonous. And I'm just not a fan of this. I really am not. I want a real Tom Clancy Rainbow Six game that gives me a story-driven game from A to B of just fun. But this is not for me. It's just not. But let's find out what Nick says. I hope I didn't take all the good complaints. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, this game is okay. There is actually more about this game I don't like than there is that I do like. I would have to closely agree with Shane on this one. This game is fun off the co-op. It's fun off the initial start. It's fun, but it gets very repetitive very quickly. You have the objectives, which are fine, but the objectives, there's not very many, and they seem to recycle themselves pretty often. The studies give you a bit of lore. They do. It's usually just a snippet of lore once you've completed them, and they're really just there for XP, right? It's almost like an XP farming game is what it makes me feel like. Because there's only 3 maps per area. And in order to complete all your studies, you have to stay in that area, which is in itself crappy because you have to replay the same maps over and over again just to get all of these things done. And really all I feel like I'm trying to do is not really uncover the secret behind this parasitic alien, coming down into this world, but really just saying how much XP can I get for my my operator that I want to boost, and that's really what I feel like I'm doing most of the time. I think it's fun co-op, but there's just the studies being stuck to just one area. I wanted a mission based idea for this game, and it is mission based, but not exactly what I was thinking of, right? I mean, because this is almost like go to the area, do these 3 areas, which almost look kind of similar to one another in a sense, and then move on to another area where you do these 3 areas. And that's not, and then when you're inside of a level, they're segregated by sections. And I don't even like that aspect of it. I don't like the sectioning off portions. You basically go through the level and complete the objective, whatever it is, targeting nests or killing an elite or something like that. And then you go through the door, resupply, and do whatever's next. The next one's going to be harder than the first. And then the third one, and then you do it again. The third one's going to be harder than the last two. And then you exit the map. And that's basically the cycle of gameplay there. And I think personally against co-op, it's fun. It's fun to have fun with your friends. And I think that's where, I would keep going with this. Yeah, I'm on the same boat. If I would have bought, I probably would have bought this game and probably been disappointed if it was just by myself. I've been like, this was not worth my time. Co-op though, it's a lot of fun because you have a lot of fun with your friends. But otherwise, I think for Ubisoft, for me personally, this was a miss. This was not a hit. I think it's an okay game. It's great if you got Game Pass and you want to check it out and play with some buddies. Full price, I would not even put it down for. Maybe if it goes on sale and you want to play something with your friends, this would be a good one to pick up. But otherwise, I think it's got too many, in my aspect, it's got too many negatives than there are positives for me. So
interesting. Yeah. And I don't agree on the cash grab side. I don't know how that came about. I mean, the game is $40 if you have to buy it. It's not even a full price game because they
milk so many resources from.
But they
Rainbow
don't.
Six.
But I mean, how do you call that a cash grab? You don't have to buy operatives, and the only thing that you're now buying is cosmetic stuff for the operators if you want them. There's nothing else to buy. There's no pay to win in this.
No, but
like there is a Rainbow.
They didn't do anything. They just tacked on a generic linear story, and all they did was add a few alien assets to this. Like I said, it's my opinion,
right?
I just don't feel that they did anything. I feel that they took what was when they did that one weekend where you could play the co-op story in Rainbow Six Siege that they had. They took those resources and just copied it over and expanded it out a little bit. That's all they did.
Well, that's what this was. This was a one-time event that they split out into its own.
I think that one-time event was way better than what this offers. That one-time event was great. And I don't remember it being in that way where it sectioned it off like that. It was like this full going from A to B type of thing where different set pieces happened as you went through the area. Mm-hmm. Where this feels like everything's just so, I don't know, it's just kind of segregated off. It almost feels like an add-on or an expansion for Siege than it does like its own thing.
Well, and that's really what it is. I mean, there's nobody said that it was going to be its own thing.
It's advertised as it's its own game, but it really, like I think Nick nailed it. It's really just an expansion pack.
I mean, I think it's Rainbow Six Siege. It's Rainbow Six for people who don't like Siege, and this game is for me. I hate Siege. I mean, the only reason I played Siege was because you guys wanted to play it. I would much rather play this than I'd rather play Siege.
As far as the multiplayer, hell yeah, I'll agree with you there. I mean, when we played Siege, we tried some of the multiplayer, but it's just not for us because when we got into it, though, these people have already been ripping it apart. So, but we played a lot of Terrorist Hunt, and we loved Terrorist Hunt because we were playing co-op and we laughed so much through it.
Right.
But Nick's right, though. This is a $40 DLC. And I just don't feel they did enough of anything on this. But it's also might just be because I am a huge Rainbow Six fan, and they just keep letting me down by not making a true Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six game.
Yeah, maybe they would have been better not using the name, but I know they wanted to rehash the operators because they'd already been developed. And that's why it's not a $60 or $70 game, because they just reuse things. There's 12 objectives, 13 if you count that stupid no man left behind objective when somebody dies. But there's 12 objectives in this game, and two of them are specific. Like one of them is if you lose an operator, you have to do an extraction for him. And the second one is there's an escape one that you get only if you bump up the difficulty to cautious level or whatever. There's a getaway mission or whatever. But I mean, if you take out those two, so what are you left with? You're left with 10. If you don't die, you're left with 10. And it cycles those 10 out through the course of however many times you have to do a map to get all of the stage objectives done, right? Because there's main objectives and then there's stage objectives. And the stage objectives give you points for your skills and level up your operators and stuff. And that's how they keep you from going from zone to zone to zone without doing anything. I don't know. I find it enjoyable, but I find enjoyable co-op. It's not something I want to tackle solo. I don't know if I'd want to play this game solo because you don't get bots. It's just you when you want to take it on solo. So, it's not meant to be played solo.
Yeah. And I find it funny because I honestly thought you and Nick would be on switched roles on this. I thought Nick would be the one who enjoyed it more. And it's literally you two have flipped scripts. So it's kind of cool and it's interesting
Surprise.
to see. You got me. You got me. But it is interesting to see how, a game like this can, actually appeal to people you don't think it would. So I give him credit there. I mean, if it appeals to Pat, that's a good thing. Because
I
Pat's
enjoy
not the biggest
co-op.
FPS guy.
I enjoy co-op.
But I like PvP.
I find it fun to play co-op with you guys. But yeah, outside of that, like, any night and you say, hey, let's play Extraction co-op, I'd be down. That's fine. And that's there because there are some things I do like about it. And I do like the co-op aspect and having fun. But everything else, not everything else, but most of everything else about it, I don't like. There's a lot of things that I just don't care for in the game.
And we've only scratched the surface, really. There's some stuff we haven't gotten into yet. Like there's some in-game stuff to it that we haven't gotten to yet. That final opening area that we haven't opened up yet. And you get armor suits out of that for doing it with certain characters. So you get the skins. I shouldn't say armor suits because it's all cosmetic. You level up your characters and you get you play an operative and that operative levels up to like, I can't remember, it's 8 or 9 levels. I can't remember but there's so many, and you get something for every level. Sometimes you get, if your guy's heavy in armor, you get more armor, or if your person is a speed type person, you get more speed, and then you get different weapons for their loadouts and things like that. And then you unlock for every character different types of react gear set items and things like that. I mean, it's got a little bit of that to me where it's like, I want to get this and see what this is like and that's like, and play the other maps, because I really like that you can't just go in and be solo Rambo. That's what I kind of like. Because
you're definitely right there.
We have a bad habit in our group of just being like, I don't give a fuck. Those guys go do those things. I'll go do mine. Normally what ends up happening, you run off on your own. You're like, where the fuck are you guys? Holy shit, I'm bringing friends, guys. So that's usually what ends up happening. If you try to venture off on your own and you're not careful, you'll get cornered by a bunch of these guys, or you'll get into an area and all hell starts breaking loose. And next thing you know, there's like so many of them and you can't find the nest that's just spitting them out one after the other. So I do like that it's a little bit tactical and slower pace because it allows you to do some of that. And I think that may be a little bit what you guys don't like. It's a little bit slower pace that you can't just kind of
don't mind the slower pace at all. I really don't. Just because I like stealthy ninja games and things like that. Splinter Cell, I'm huge in. So I don't have a problem with that. And honestly, if the game's not that hard until it gets hard, because it's like, you can pop a dude left and right, no problem. It's when you get 2, then the 3rd and the 4th, and you can't figure out the zit they're popping from. And next thing you know, man, you got boomers and I can't remember the one that shoots the crap at you, but they're just drilling you left
or whatever he is.
Spiker, yeah. It's like, and those are the parts of the game that I do enjoy. I do enjoy the difficulty bumps where you get that, you're physically freaking sweating in those moments. When you get through it, you're, those feel good. But I enjoy those in a game, even a bad game. And it's not that the game is bad. It's just, I just can't find enough redeemable about it. I mean, but for Pat to like it, I'm all for it. And if he wants to jump on, I'll jump on with him.
I think it's our only thing in our co-op lineup at the moment, right?
At the moment.
True.
So,
yeah,
that's what I like about it
too. Yeah, I mean, I like the combat as well, right? And I'm exactly there with Shane. I think the combat's fine. The combat gameplay is fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's the other aspects of the game that I dislike. I think some of the operatives are useless. They have some skills that don't really seem to do much for you. So we have like because every time we pick an operative, we're picking like the same 5, even though we have like 10 open or whatever. There's like the same 5 that we all pick, right? And they seem to be the best ones out of the group, right? I mean, other ones might have some other gadgets that might be worth it, but I think some of them do have gadgets that aren't worth a damn. So there's that, but I just don't like the gameplay. I don't like the map flow. I don't like the sectioned off areas. I wish it was more of like storied set pieces that we're going through than it is like, it feels like we're just going in to do these objectives and leave, right? Instead of like these, I guess maybe it's this. Maybe I wanted a $60 game and not a $40, right?
I would have liked a co-op story-based game, but I really didn't think that that's what this was going to be. I'm like, I really was going into this thinking Rainbow Six Siege with aliens. That's exactly what I went into thinking this. I'm like, they're going to do the whole extraction thing that they did before, just elaborate on a little bit more. And that's exactly what they came out with. So maybe that's why it's different. I didn't have that high hopes that they were going to do some grand story-based thing. I'm just like, oh, they're just going to Rainbow Six Siege the hell out of this sci-fi genre. And that's what they did. And we came into it. I'm like, okay, cool. And I remember in the single player game that we played, it was like one area though. And what I mean by one area was like you went in for one objective. And that's why it was. And I was thinking that's exactly like this. It's just the only difference is you get to choose whether you want to extract after every objective or go through and do all the tiers to get more experience. And it gets difficult. And sometimes you're like, hell yeah, we're going to do all 3 tiers. And you get in after the first objective and one of you's turned into a Cheeto. And you're like, well, do we try this 2-player? The last one's kind of a dick. So let's not do this one. We're going to put the Cheeto in the coffin and get out, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And one thing, Nick brought up the characters. I think we're up to 12 or 13 characters right now. And we don't pick the characters because, okay, this is a good character. He's cool. No, we pick it because of the studies, what we're trying to get. So destroy somebody with a grenade or spot somebody through a wall, or things like that, or you have to knife so many. So you're picking characters based on the studies. There's some that I really loved from Rainbow Six that we've unlocked, but they just don't work for those missions that we get. Tachanka, Nick used the hell out of him in Rainbow Six, but yeah, I don't think you've touched him yet. No offense.
I did once. His starting weapon is really bad. I mean, I like his gadget, right? Because it's the LMG that's mounted.
Yes.
So I do like that. But the starting assault rifle has one hell of a recoil on it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if I was to purchase this game, I would pay $15, but only if I had a guarantee you guys are picking it up too. Thank God for Game Pass. It saved me $40 again. So thank you. But for me, $15 max, and that's only for guarantee with you guys getting it.
Yeah. And I will agree with Nick. A lot of the characters, just their abilities don't line up with what the game is and stuff like that. I don't think I played Sledge once since he's been in there, and he was one of the first opening ones. And we have all but 3 of the operators unlocked. We haven't reached milestone rank 17 yet to open up the last 3. But we've opened up all of them all the way up to, the rank 10 operators. So we've gotten a decent way in there. But I do find myself picking the ones that I like, and it does depend on the scenario, right? Anytime we got to go for we got to get the sample, somebody's always playing alibi so they can spawn the little decoy and everybody can just let the thing beat on the decoy while we come around and get it. But that's just typical gameplay, right? I mean, when you're playing the other one, the co-op version of Rainbow Six Siege, it was kind of the same way. We just never played, nobody ever really played those characters outside of there because they're like, oh, we don't need the decoy or whatever. I want the most, how many wall breach charges can I carry, or how many wall securing things or window securing things that I can do, barricades. That's what you did in that one. And now this one's a little bit more, you're not sitting in one place that often. So what can I use that's going to help me versus aliens versus a bunch of guys with guns? So it has, I can see it getting very repetitive. I mean, it's already gotten kind of repetitive, but I want to see the new areas that we haven't been to yet. So that's kind of where I'm at in this game, wanting to see what we haven't been to yet, get a little bit more of the story unlocked. But as Nick said, they give you like little pipettes of story once you complete the little mini objectives in each zone. And you're like, well, what's next? What are these little sludge puddles? What are those? And what are they purpose they serve? And you gotta do the sludge objectives, which is kill so many of them, do this or do that to unlock what they are. And that's a weird way to dole out the lore, but it's also the way that they've chosen to extend out the game, right? That's their only way to extend the game, because there's only, what do we say, like eight or nine maps or something like that, with 3 different situations in each one or something like that.
I don't even think there's that many. There's 3 or 4 on the top, and then there's 1 on the bottom, and then you got 3 with each one. I mean, there might be more maps in, the 3rd one or the 4th one. I don't know. But just going off a quick guesstimate, because I didn't look that part up, see how many there were.
Well, I thought there was more than that.
And you might be right, but
yeah, because there's like New York City, San Francisco, Alaska.
There's 4 at the top, and then there's
3 at the bottom. 3 at the bottom. There was the assignments wall to wall, Alaska, Maelstrom Protocol. Oh, the VR training is what the 3rd one was. So there's that single player VR training. That's what I was throwing in there.
So there's 6 altogether.
Right. Yeah. And then there's 4 levels of difficulty: moderate, cautious, severe, and critical, which add just insane crap to it.
And moderate is nuts at times. So if you guys are beating it on the hardest level, holy crap, pat on your back.
Well, the difficulty levels are based on operator levels. So like moderate's designed for operators levels 1 through 3, cautious is for 3 to 5, and then severe is for like 6 to 8, and then critical is for like 8 to 10 level, operator levels 8 to 10. So they're based off operator level, because your operator gets stronger as you play them more. They get more armor. They're able to carry more of their react abilities and things like that. Yeah,
still, foobar that, man.
I mean, it might be fun to get in there, especially when you say you want to do critical, which is like 8 to 10 level operators, and then all the Arcans have 100% risk of mutation, which means you're going to get a mutation. So that's going to be interesting and fun. And somebody's got to be bait. So,
yep, it's going to be Shane.
Yep, Shane, go out there and poke that nest. So, but yeah, and there's also, there's some of the maps are locked behind difficulty levels. So I think it's got a little bit going for it. I mean, we've not played all the maps yet, and there might be a map that we've yet to play that's somebody's favorite. Like I said, we just unlocked Truth and Consequences, and we've barely gone through San Francisco. Because you have to keep repeating San Francisco to get those stupid side things done. And that's probably the worst part about it. It's like, we should have just probably powered through all the different maps and checked them all out. But I think even like some of the maps have difficulty levels. So those San Francisco default difficulty is cautious. So once you get in there, that's a default difficulty there. Alaska's default difficulty is severe. And then the Truth and Consequences default difficulty is critical. So,
yeah, that's the one you grab your ankles.
Yep, and take it critically.
So. There will be tears.
Yeah, that's what it starts it out on when you pick the map. Of course, you can choose any difficulty you want, but that's what it sets it as a default, unless you change.
So it recommends it. So you can go lower, right?
Yes. Yeah. So. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add to this game or review?
Dear Ubisoft,
lots to add to it.
Dear Ubisoft, just give us a true, real Tom Clancy Rainbow Six game. Enough of this BS. Just give me a freaking remaster, for God's sakes, of a real one.
You heard it here, folks. Shane wants a remaster.
I won't normally say that, but God, I'm dying for a really good Tom Clancy Rainbow Six game.
Yeah, well, you'll never get one again. All right.
Hey, Microsoft, you're in a buying mood.
Sony will buy Ubisoft. So, all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and end this video. Thanks everyone for checking it out. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new game videos that we put out all the time. Rainbow Six Extraction, you can pretty much pick it up anywhere. So if you've played it, let us know what you think about it. What are your opinions? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's okay? What are the things you like? What are the things you hate? Do you think it's just the greatest thing since sliced bread, or what? So let us know down in the comments below. We always like to see comments and try to respond to them as quickly as we can. But other than that, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you.